Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I'm Thelma Okoro. 3 suspected suicide bombers were killed on Friday in an explosion in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital in northeast Nigeria. The incident occurred in Damboa Road near a petrol station in Maiduguri. According to the National Emergency Management Agency, 3 petrol tankers were also burnt in the incident. Damboa is a town in Borno state overrun by the Boko Haram insurgents at the height of their reign of terror in the country. The road was reopened just last year after the Nigerian Army pushed back the insurgents. However, since then it has recorded several attacks. The Nigerian Army has given over 400 million naira to 197 families of slain soldiers. The money presented in checks were issued under the Group Life Assurance Scheme of the service. Most of the soldiers had lost their lives in the fight against insurgency in the northeast part of the country. While presenting the money, the Army urged the families to ensure the benefit is used properly.
Welfare packages for his personnel, both serving, retired, and deceased. And the Group Life Assurance is one of the welfare packages we have in service. And it is given out to all deceased Army personnel, whether you die in the war front or at home. It is a contributory kind of assurance coordinated by the Ministry of Defense. It usually depends on when the checks mature from the assurance company. You know, a particular company has been engaged to process the benefits. So anytime the checks mature, they will inform us through the Ministry of Defense. Then they send the checks to us and we make the presentations.
The United Nations says it needs about $1.5 billion to address massive humanitarian crisis in the Lake Chad region in 2017. According to the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, over 10.7 million people in the region need humanitarian support, with about 8.5 million of them living in northeastern Nigeria. The Borno state capital is one of the cities worst affected by the Boko Haram insurgency. The sect has carried out several attacks in that region, killing thousands and displacing more than 2 million others. The National Human Rights Commission has sought the partnership of the Nigerian Army to promote human rights accountability in the northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe State. Acting Executive Secretary of the Commission made the demand during a courtesy visit to the Chief of the Army Staff at the Army headquarters in Abuja. Since the Boko Haram insurgency began in 2009, there have been numerous reports of human rights abuse in the northeast part of the country.
In order to entrench and consolidate the present gains, the Commission, the Human Rights Agenda Network, the European Union, the Nigerian Bar Association, and other human rights organizations and bodies embarked on this project on promoting human rights accountability in the Northeast to achieve the following objectives. 1. Improving dialogue with the military on full mainstreaming of human rights and civilian protection into the rules of engagement and code of conduct of Operation Lafia Dole. 2. Training of military personnel on mainstreaming human rights and civilian protection in the workings of Operation Lafia Dole. 3. Training of the civilian JTF on mainstreaming human rights principles into its operations. 4. Designing and development of code of conduct for the civilian JTF. 5. Designing a template for the civilian JTF for gathering of intelligence that will be useful to Operation Lafia Dole. 6. Bringing accountability to bear for human rights violations committed during the counter-insurgency operations. This can be in the form of civil remedies or criminal prosecutions in collaboration with the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Bar Association, the judiciary, and the relevant justice ministries at the state and federal levels.
The Nigerian Army has its own rules of engagement and code of conduct. And these rules of engagement principally is aimed at preservation and protection of human rights. This is the first principle of code of conduct and rules of engagement. We follow it strictly based on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We don't violate any rights of our citizens outside what is provided for in the Constitution, and indeed the various enabling documents or policies that are legally binding in the conduct of our operations. We've taken note and will continue to protect human rights, not only in Nigeria, but wherever we are deployed for our operations globally.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has filed fresh corruption charges against two multinational oil companies, Shell and ENI. The other defendants in the suit filed before the Federal High Court are a former Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Adoke, and Dan Etete, as well as a businessman identified as Aliyu Abubakar. The charges relate to the sale of the OPL 245 oil block to the oil companies. The accused persons have been charged for defrauding the Nigerian government. OPL 245 is considered the richest in Africa. It is estimated to contain about 9 billion barrels of crude oil. The oil block is currently under the Nigerian government after a court ordered a forfeiture of the block. Shell and ENI have since denied any wrongdoing. Former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan says he will continue to work with members of the People's Democratic Party to resolve their leadership crisis. Right now, the PDP is divided into two factions, one led by PDP National Chairman Ali Modu Sheriff and the other by PDP Caretaker Committee Chairman Ahmed McCarthy. In a statement, the former president commended members and leaders of the PDP for their support and efforts to resolve the differences in the party. The Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja will be shut down for repairs with effect from Tuesday, March 17, 2017. This was contained in a statement released by Saleh Dunoma, who is the managing director of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. The closure is to allow for repairs on the runway of the Abuja International Airport. That runway has been in use for over 34 years without any form of repair. Pilots and traffic controllers have over time expressed concern over the sorry state of the airport runway. Nigeria's Senate President Bukola Saraki has condemned the recent invasion of the homes of some Nigerian judges by the Department of State Services. Saraki, who was represented by the Senator Chukwuma Utazi, was speaking at a national dialogue on the fight against corruption organized by the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption in Abuja. According to him, the recent raid by the security agency without search warrants was unlawful and is not in accordance with the rule of law. President Muhammad Buhari and Moroccan King Mohammed VI have agreed to work towards deepening relations between both countries. Both parties reached this agreement through a telephone conversation. According to a statement issued by the Nigerian government, the two leaders also discussed the current stage of the Morocco and Nigeria Atlantic crude oil pipeline project. The Nigerian presidency has replied the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Chukwuma Soludo. Soludo had accused the Buhari-led administration of worsening the state of Niger's economy since it took over almost 2 years ago. Now, Soludo said the government has not shown sufficient seriousness in addressing the nation's terrible economic situation. The Niger Delta Development Commission has denied purchasing 70 cars, as alleged by Itse Sage, chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee. On Thursday this week, Sage accused the NDDC of being reckless with funds and which are meant for schools and infrastructure development in the Niger Delta region. But now reacting in a statement, the commission says it was just in the process of purchasing 22 cars for official use.
Corruption not in my country.
How work?
How correct, Oga?
What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this o. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will command the original parts, sell them, make plenty kuza.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One. Frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. It's now time for business stories. Fidelia is standing by with the latest.
Thank you, Thelma. Nigeria's Naira is expected to hold steady in the coming days. The unit traded at 305 to the dollar on the official market, which is the same level it has traded since August 2016. However, the Naira traded at 455 against the dollar on the black market. Traders attributed this recent appreciation of the Naira to the new CBN policies, which has helped ease dollar scarcity in the markets. Nigeria's central bank CBN says it has plans to sell dollars through a booking build process to clear a backlog of dollar demand for companies importing machineries, airline equipment, and petroleum products. The APEC Bank, however, did not say how much it would offer at the sales. Meanwhile, the Naira was quoted at 305 on the interbank market on Thursday, while on the black market, the currency was quoted at 455 against the US dollar. Oil prices ticked high on Friday, recouping some of the previous losses from the session. However, investors remained cautious after Russian production figures showed weak compliance with the global deal to cut outputs. Brent crude was up 19 cents at $55 a barrel, while Urals crude was up 8 cents to trade at $52.69 a barrel. Oil gains were capped after concern remained over non-OPEC compliance with the global deal to cut grain in oversupply. Well, that's all on business. More stories coming up. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. What's wrong with you? Is any other person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption
not in my country.
You know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back to News Now. Egypt's top appeal court has found Hosni Mubarak not guilty of involvement in the killing of protesters during the 2011 uprising. This is the final ruling in the case. He was originally sentenced to life in prison in 2012 for conspiring to murder 239 demonstrators in the uprising, but an appeal court had ordered a retrial. Mozambique's Renamo opposition party and rebel movement extended a ceasefire by 2 months on Friday. This will allow further peace talks with the president of the country, raising hopes of an end to years of violence. A long-term deal would strengthen Nyusi's position ahead of a conference of the ruling Frelimo party in September this year. He is expected to be re-elected leader of the country despite a high-profile death scandal hanging over him. The Nigerian Football Federation has confirmed the venue for the Super Eagles friendlies against Senegal and Burkina Faso. Both games will take place on Thursday, March 23rd and Monday, March 27th, respectively, at the Hive, which is the home ground of English Football League side Barnet. Super Eagles coach General has already named a strong squad for the friendlies, including Leicester's Ahmed Musa, Arsenal's Alex Iwobi and Manchester City's Kelechi Iheanacho. A presidential committee in the 2017 CAF elections, Ahmed Ahmed, has hinted that he is open to the idea of expanding the number of teams participating in the African Cup of Nations. Speaking to reporters after a meeting with the Nigerian football officials in Abuja, Ahmed also promised to ensure good reforms in African football if elected into office. The Madagascar FA chairman also reserved praises for Nigerian football chief Amaju Pinnick, commending him for developing Nigerian football. Ahmad is the only challenger to current CAF president Issa Hayatou, who was elected in 1988 and has been in power ever since then. The CAF presidential elections will hold on March 16, 2017. Atletico Madrid striker Fernando Torres has been released from hospital after he suffered a head injury during his side's La Liga clash against Deportivo. The striker was taken to the hospital after he was knocked unconscious following a clash of the heads with an opposition player. The forward was sent to the hospital where he had a brain scan. There are no signs of alterations or traumatic injuries on the player. That's all we have on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Thelma Okoro.